Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Veterans fear the VA's new foreclosure rescue plan won't help them. Interesting. I've done a couple of videos on this and wanted to chime in a little more with this article here that I just found this morning, actually, and want to share it with you. So let's jump into it. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. This type of information gives us little nuggets maybe. And if you or someone you know is going through this type of a situation with the VA, they did put a stay in place where they are asking for no foreclosures to happen over the next 6 months while the VA figures out a plan to help folks out of the difficult situation. So if you're not a member, consider joining. It does help the channel and it helps me to find you guys in the comments. Also, another way to support the channel is just to let the video run a little longer than you would, and then that helps to push it out a little further. All right, so jumping into it, while Ed O'Connor was in the hospital losing his leg, loan servicers were telling him he might be losing his house too. O'Connor is a 69-year-old Marine Corps veteran. Last year, doctors amputated his right leg, a complication, he believes, of a blood infection he picked up serving in the Philippines. While he was recovering from the surgery, scary letters were arriving at home. They were going to do a foreclosure on me, he said. Being in and out of the hospital, I'm talking on the phone, calling people up. You know, it's hard. Following an investigation by NPR that found thousands of veterans were about to lose their homes through no fault of their own, the VA called for a pause on foreclosures in its VA Home Loan program while it rolls out a plan to help. But now it appears that may not be enough for many veterans like O'Connor. O'Connor is among tens of thousands of veterans who took what's called a COVID forbearance on a VA home loan. In his case, because his wife lost her job during the pandemic, that allowed him to defer paying the mortgage and keep his home. Like many vets, he says he was promised he could resume normal payments after 6 to 18 months when the hardship was over and simply add the missed payments to the end of their mortgage. Sounds good. Let's do it. Obviously. Add the payments to the end of your mortgage. Your rate won't increase. The payments remain the same, is how O'Connor says it was described to him. And I said, man, this would be a great relief. Of course it would be. And that's what normally happens, by the way. If you were not in a VA loan and you did this on a conventional loan, they would modify the loan, throw them toward the end. So moving on. That's not what happened, though. Instead, in October of 2022, the VA ended that part of its forbearance program. So if you got squared away before October of 2022, you were good to go. However, if yours dragged on past that, that part of the forbearance program disappeared. So it says that, again, the VA ended that part of the forbearance program that allowed missed payments to be moved to the back of the loan term, and that suddenly stranded veterans who were still on a foreclosure forbearance because it's now leaving them with no affordable option or way to get current on their loans and resume normal payments. O'Connor says he was told he needed to pay back more than $32,000 in a lump sum to catch up. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just pay the $32,000 and we'll call it a day and move forward. Look, you're on a hardship. You're not making the payments because you don't have the money because the wife lost the job. I don't have $32,000, O'Connor told NPR as he sat in his new wheelchair at his home in Fredericksburg, Virginia. After the NPR investigation last month revealed that tens of thousands of veterans were in the same situation, 4 U.S. senators fired off letters to the VA demanding an immediate pause in foreclosures. Just days later, the VA did just that. On November 17th, the pause will last through May of 2024, when the VA expects to have a new program in place to help vets avoid foreclosure with a low interest rate loan and payments that they can actually afford. But O'Connor's troubles don't seem to be over because the VA's rescue plan may exclude many vets who already took what they considered to be their only option to save their homes. O'Connor is one of an untold number of veterans who ended up with much higher mortgage payments because they were pushed into loan modifications. Those modifications rolled the missed payments back into their mortgage, but with a new loan that had to be at the current interest rates, which are about double that than what they were a year ago or 2 years ago, and I would say they're even more than that. So they upped my mortgage rate, O'Connor said, and I'm kind of like, wait a minute, you guys are really screwing me here. When I got my home, I was only paying $1,750. Now I'm paying $2,400, he said. That's horrible. O'Connor said he's had to adjust his lifestyle to make the new mortgage payment. I make the car payment late, maybe 2 credit card bills late, We don't go to the store that often, O'Connor says, who is just trying to stretch his disability check from the VA plus his wife's pay from her part-time job at the shopping mall. He feels betrayed by the program, no kidding, that was meant to help. They give you promises, and this is his quote here. They give you promises and then they give you an empty cup. I'm kind of disgusted with it all. NPR has heard from veterans across the country, from Hawaii to Florida to New York, who all say, too, that they are stuck with much more costly mortgage. It doesn't seem quite fair to me, said Representative Takano, the leading Democrat on the House Veterans Affairs Committee, in an interview with NPR. We've got to keep an eye on this. VA officials say they don't know how many veterans have been pushed into loan modifications that dramatically raised their payments, but this week at a press conference, NPR asked the VA secretary about vets in the situation, and he urged them to reach out to the VA. There may be bigger policy fixes later, but we want them to be in touch with us now. We're also concerned, obviously, to hear that some of our vets feel that they have been misled. So we're looking into that. Former Marine Joe Mina feels misled. Mina joined the Marines in 2007 and deployed to Iraq. He served 8 years, came home to start a family, and then joined the National Guard in time to get called up during the pandemic. After he lost his regular job, he heard about the VA mortgage forbearance. I thought that was honestly the coolest thing in the world. Mina says he was told the same thing other veterans recall, just deferring paying those, and those missed would get shifted to the back of his 30-year mortgage. I was like, I don't mind having a 31-year mortgage. That's fine, he said. I'm going to be living in this house forever. But in September, he was told by his mortgage company that the deal had changed. They sent me a statement that said the forbearance is up, Mina said, and if you want to avoid foreclosure, oh my gosh. And if you wanted to avoid foreclosure, he had to pay $57,000 for the missed payments. Or he could do a loan modification. Take your pick. Mina says he didn't have $57,000, so he says the company placed him into a loan modification that he can't afford. It pushes up his monthly payments by $1,300 per month forever to $3,600 a month. His first payment is due December 1st. He's working again as a certified nursing assistant, but he has no idea how he'll be able to keep up with such a big payment. Mina said he reached out to the VA and others, but he's not sure what to do. The stress is a serious issue for him. Mina lost a good friend in a particularly bad way in Iraq, and it still haunts him. He's in therapy twice a week for PTSD. I suffer from suicidal ideation constantly, so this is one of the times. This is a type of trigger that would put me in an inpatient facility, he said. Mina grew up with 4 siblings and a single mom who did her best, but they did get evicted from apartments sometimes. This is the first time he's owned a house. He's exactly who the VA home loan has been intended to help since 1944. Veterans who need a leg up to enjoy the stability that comes with home ownership. My one goal is to have a house for my kids, he says. I'm trying to keep it all together for my kids that I love and my wife that I love so much, but I'm not together at all. I wasn't together before I found out about this, and now I'm losing it," he says. Mina has 3 kids and a baby on the way in March. He has no idea if this new program the VA is rolling out is going to help him. Whew. Adding to his confusion, his paperwork appears to show that he is in a trial period for the loan modification. He'd like to back out and wait for the VA's new rescue plan, but he doesn't know if he can. Mina's mortgage company, Loan Care, declined to discuss his situation and said in a brief statement to NPR that the company complies with all applicable laws, regulations, agency guidelines for mortgages. Meanwhile, the 40,000 homeowners with VA loans who did not get into loan modifications yet are currently in the foreclosure process or delinquent. The VA this week released formal guidance related to its pause on foreclosures. At his press conference, the VA secretary said his agency met with all companies serving more than 90% of all VA home loans, and they all will comply. This will pause the foreclosure process for these veterans through May 31st next year, 2024, giving us additional time that we need to help these veterans find solutions to stay in their homes, he said. Still, as of earlier this week, that message did not appear to be trickling down to all the people working at mortgage companies. I received a call yesterday. Come to find out, we're officially in the first day of our foreclosure process, Marine Corps veteran Jason Miles told NPR. Miles served in the Marines for a decade, starting in 2003. He did 4 tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. He lost a sales job during the pandemic and had to take a forbearance. These days, he's a teacher and a coach at Clinton Christian Academy, a high school in Clinton, Mississippi. Miles spoke to NPR from the school's athletic office. He has 3 kids. His oldest daughter is on a poster for the school volleyball team that's hung on the wall behind his desk. I know every dad brags on their kids, he says, clearly proud of her. But the past few months, he's been keeping from the kids and that the family doesn't have any affordable way to get caught up on about $20,000 of missed mortgage payments. This is horrifying, he said. I'm scared to death that we're about to lose our home. Miles told the mortgage company called Mr. Cooper that he'd read reports that the VA is pausing foreclosures so families like his could get help. He said the company representative still told him, "You have to pay the full amount back or you're going into foreclosure." After the VA issued its official guidance Thursday, Mr. Cooper said in a statement to NPR, "We are taking immediate steps based on this guidance and look forward to expanding options to support veterans exiting their pandemic forbearance plans." The VA said it is encouraging all veterans who are struggling with their mortgage, whether they're in a loan modification already or not, to contact the VA at 877-827-3702. Again, that's 877-827-3702. Or you can visit the va.gov/housing-assistance. I'll put that all in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.